about here.
So, wild things happening in boxing. Wild stuff.
Actually, while you riff,
Yeah,
if
okay.
I may, I do want to pull up the procession that occurred with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder at their last fight.
Okay.
So riff while I pull up this video, because I do
Okay.
want to share it with the audience.
What I'm going to riff on is I heard a great point. I'm a big combat fan. Huge combat fan. I mean, I fell in love with boxing when I saw Mike Tyson fight Evander Holyfield. My dad, in all of his wisdom, brought me as a 6-year-old to the Evander Holyfield Mike Tyson fight at one of his colleagues' party at 11 p.m. at night. So just that's where it got started.
That's where you got going.
But I was listening to Max Kellerman, who I disagree with on almost everything, but he was saying, and I wholeheartedly agree on this point, but he was saying how boxing, how MMA, how any combat sport is the most popular sport there is. And his reasoning was, if you come to a street corner and you got a flag football game, fuck it, it's tackle in the streets. That's wild, right?
That's kind of wild.
All right, that would never happen. So you got a flag football game going on. You got a baseball game on the other side of the street. Fuck it. Let's say you got a couple people hooping, right? And then on the far edge of this street, you have two people fighting. Where do you go?
You go to the fight.
You go to the fight. Everyone gravitates to the fight. I don't know what it is about combat sports.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about fighting, but people love to watch fighting. And so the point he made is the reason boxing is not the most popular sport right now, even though it is the most popular activity that would be at that street corner. Mm-hmm. Now let's do the thought experiment again. You come to the same street corner, and you got Barry Bonds hitting some baseballs.
Ooh.
Right. You got Tom Brady playing a pickup flag football game.
Okay.
Right.
Follow.
You got LeBron James playing ball. And then you got two random people you've never heard of fighting. That being said, I bet you some still gravitate to the fight, but the storytelling, LeBron...
Yeah.
Me having to tune in to see what's next on his agenda of how he can't see.
His
right?
manipulation agenda.
Boxing has done a terrible job storytelling. UFC's done a better job storytelling.
That's a good point.
They did a great job with, both. Conor McGregor is a showman, right? Showman, a fighter first, a showman second. I'm going to give him his credit. I think he's supremely talented. But boxing has done a terrible job of storytelling.
Yeah.
And it takes forever to get these guys together because of all of the different managers, all of the different weight classes, all of the different rules, blah, blah, blah. Are we ready to go into Deontay Wilder now that I've set that up?
I'm having trouble connecting up here, so we'll try it again in a few minutes here. But I think that to your point, I really wasn't into boxing, MMA,
yeah.
And I've gotten more into boxing since we've been hanging out. And when you start following and you follow Tyson Fury and you follow the Gypsy King and you learn about his roots and learn about where he came from and what he's done,
right?
And then you watch him fight, it's so cool because all this background, all this energy just gets totally put through a prism and focused onto a single individual rather than LeBron on the Lakers, Barry Bonds in the dugout amongst all the other players. That's
exactly.
So you get this incredible background on somebody and you realize that is what is on that one person's shoulders in that ring. And that's what they're walking in with. Mm-hmm. And that is really cool to watch.
Why is the WWE as popular as it is?
I will never understand that.
No, I'm going to tell you. Storytelling.
They do a lot of that.
Right.
It's all like
it shouldn't be popular because it's fake.
Right.
But the storytelling is so compelling to a certain niche of people.
Yeah. Good point.
By the way, WWE makes a shit ton of money all the time. So they have a huge following. If and whenever a WWE style showman comes in, Conor McGregor to UFC.
Oh, it's all ESPN can
Mike
talk
Tyson to boxing.
Right.
Then
Stephen A. Smith is commenting.
Then what does everyone talk about?
Yeah.
Right. It's like
Notorious.
LeBron chose to box.
The Notorious.
Right. Don't get me started on that. If LeBron chose to box, you'd never hear anything else. If LeBron boxed Tim Tebow, you would never. The sports cycle for 19 months straight would be this.
Would be that fight.
And my God, would I pay any amount of money to watch that? Tim Tebow would smoke LeBron in a fight, by the way.
By the way, speaking of paying money for sporting events, we should share with our audience that we have decided 2022
We are going
at the Kentucky Derby.
Riding on a horse.
We hope to see you guys there. It's going to be awesome.
I've invited a lot of people. I had a conference call with the Derby experience lady. She said this is the perfect time to start planning. She was like, trust me, I tell you, because like, I obviously, she was like, obviously I'm trying to sell packages, but she was like, I'm telling you, you got to plan now or else you're out. And she even, again, that could be a sales tactic, but she qualified it, and this is what made me trust her 100%. She said, the hotels downtown, we have packages, but I'd recommend staying like an Airbnb like 20 miles away.
Okay.
She was like, look, it's going to be like a fraction of the cost. You reserve it now. You get the Uber, whatever the transportation may be, to the race. You're going to stay at the race all day, Friday and Saturday.
What does it matter?
And she was like, trust me, look, you do whatever you want, but if you do the more package, which is $1,500 a person.
Love that.
It covers food and drink at the race. You would make that if we chose the $900 version, we would spend $300 a day.
There's no question.
Right.
There's no question.
And it's like,
that's why these packages exist.
This is why these packages exist.
They realize
Let's get in on it.
All right. So here we are.
Right. Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. This is you want to do the full ring walk?
I just want to see his ring walk because this is, you talk about storytelling and building up who somebody is.
Right. Deontay Wilder is great at this as well.
Yeah. This is Deontay. This is his walk.
This is Deontay. So Deontay's walk. Everybody who knows boxing, Deontay Wilder. I've watched Deontay for 10 years now.
Wow.
I've been on this guy for a long time. I love Deontay Wilder. He's gone a little insane in the past month or two, but he always used to come out with like a gladiator, just a mask. Like remember in Gladiator when the guy comes out and there's like a tear on the thing?
Right.
Yeah, right. He used to come out in just a gladiator mask, and it was fucking awesome. Now, watching him through the years, I have noticed that his outfits have been getting more and more elaborate. And by the time this fight happened, because let's remember, history-wise, in the first fight, it was a draw because Deontay smacked Tyson, and Tyson had to like go full zombie mode to even get up.
He did.
And so Deontay's on top of the world now. Deontay comes out in what can only be explained as a Transformer outfit.
Right.
That video wall backstage, you'll notice that Deontay is honoring Black History Month.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
He has a sequined crown and Transformer battle armor on.
You know, that's how anyone really should honor Black History Month.
Look at that look.
It was dope. It was dope. All right, now let's go to Tyson Fury.
All right, I'll get Tyson Fury up here in a second.
So, actually, Deontay Wilder, now fast forward, after he lost that fight, initially blamed, well, people don't remember this. Initially, in the ring, he said that his elbow was, like, tweaked or maybe... He went full LeBron, actually. And, but he did blame initially the outfit for being too heavy and that weighing on his legs. And so he didn't have his legs underneath him for the fight, which is a completely ludicrous
That's a little
take.
nutty.
It's a nutty take.
Because when you think about what Fury did to him, Fury's strategy just looks like it makes so much more sense. Like he kept approaching.
Right.
Approaching.
And always moving.
And then he had to like...
for a giant man, I mean, he's fast.
So limber.
So fast.
And now Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury's coming in to Crazy in Love on a throne.
He has decided to be carried on.
This is amazing. I knew, by the way, when we were watching this. So, by the way, for the audience listening, Tyson Fury is being carried in on a giant throne as king to Crazy in Love, and it's amazing. But let me qualify it with something.
I'm bringing the volume down.
When he came out like this, and look at it, look how calm he is.
He's like foot tapping.
Right. I knew he's gonna win right now.
Really?
Yeah.
You're like he's ready.
I didn't want it to happen, but I was like, uh-oh.
He's gonna win this.
He's
one.
so relaxed, it's not looking good.
Versus like Transformer, like all stiff and like.
Well, we were watching before the fight, remember? Deontay was running around. He was like a lot of energy was being expended by Deontay. And then they'd go to Tyson Fury's locker room, and he was just chilling. He was just chilling with his wife.
He's hanging with the missus, slapping the buddies.
Right.
You know?
So I was like, uh-oh, this does not bode well, because I feel like, look, let's be honest, Tyson Fury's a better boxer than Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder has more power.
Oh, absolutely.
But in the first fight, Tyson Fury was winning the fight, and Deontay caught him, and so they had to call it a draw because, wow.
Like, Fury had this out-of-body experience. Right. It looked like somebody blasted smelling salts across his face. And he sat up and had just like this recovery that I as a new person to boxing, can't imagine taking that hit and being like, this will be over in about 5 seconds.
You would have died.
Well,
I would have died.
I mean, and LeBron would be shooting at 10 rims.
Well, LeBron, if Deontay punched LeBron as hard as he punched Tyson Fury, LeBron would still be flying, Space Jam style.
Still in the air.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, LeBron would never, ever get up ever again. But so now, moving forward. So Tyson Fury is supposed to face Anthony Joshua in Dubai. Anthony Joshua, I don't know if you know this, but he is an amazing fighter. Looks like fucking chiseled from stone. And he did lose to a large Anthony Ruiz. Though,
I remember that.
And that was not a good thing. But he came back. He avenged it. He took him too lightly the first time.
Not a good look.
So anyway, Tyson Fury is supposed to fight Anthony Joshua in Dubai. And meanwhile, this whole thing that was going on was Deontay Wilder was taking it to arbitration and saying, because in the original contract, Deontay Wilder had it as, I'm guaranteed a third fight if I want it, and I take the lower end of a 60-40 split. Now, he had already accepted that before, and then COVID hit. So obviously, it had to be postponed because Deontay Wilder's like, I'm not going to fight someone without a giant crowd.
No.
Right.
None of these guys.
I mean, this is an event. Yeah. Like, we're not doing that shit.
It's a spectacle.
Right. So it got postponed, and then Tyson Fury said, well, now you're out of the range of, like, the rematch. So I'm going to move forward with this. But
sort of like statute of limitations.
Right, statute of limitations. To everyone's surprise, the arbitrator ruled with Deontay Wilder. I heard they offered Deontay Wilder upwards of $10 million to step aside. And Deontay Wilder said, no.
Go F it.
Fuck that. I want to fight you.
Oh, my God.
Because in Deontay Wilder's mind, let's do a little background here. It might be the better business decision because if we play this out, we would probably be like, why wouldn't you accept that and then also get paid a 60?
And also fight.
Right. So then you get $10 million on top of whatever the $50 million you'd get, right? I think Deontay Wilder thinks if Tyson Fury fights Anthony Joshua and wins, what's stopping Tyson Fury just saying, fuck this shit, I'm retiring now. I'm the best.
I don't need you.
Right. So then you'd only make $10 million. Right. So you wouldn't get the full 40%. You know, and boxing's so fucked up that there's no guarantees.
That makes sense. So what would happen? So first fight, draw.
First fight, draw.
Second fight, Fury wins.
First fight, Tyson Fury's winning the entire fight. Deontay hits him with such a devastating blow that the judges are like, we got to have a second fight because, come on, how can we give this to Tyson Fury when that guy just clearly smoked him?
Yeah.
So they drawed it. Second fight, look, dude, Tyson Fury beat the fuck out of Deontay Wilder. He didn't look like the Deontay Wilder that I had watched for a decade. He looked scared, hesitant. He did look tired.
Backpedaling.
He looked I don't want to give credence to his conspiracies, but he didn't look right.
Yeah.
Another conspiracy he has, and he fired his entire trainer, his training team and trainer, was that they drugged his water.
God.
So why would they do that? I don't know what the purpose of that would be. So, but this gets to the point of these guys can't accept. I mean, you're on such like a level at that point where your ego has hit like this pinnacle where you can't accept that I just got beat.
It's this feedback loop, right? Because you have to step into that ring
Right.
with a guy who processed out in the king's garments and who you hit as hard as you could
And got up.
and said, let's keep going.
Right.
To get in that ring, you have to have ego and energy and just self-belief. Call it cockiness, but like it's necessary to get in that ring, that to believe that it wasn't some fly in the ointment,
Right.
some kind of sabotage.
Something happened.
Like is to crumble your entire foundation.
Exactly.
So these guys have to walk out there and find a scapegoat. And I remember learning about this a little bit in my psychiatry classes as part of my medical education. I am not a psychiatrist, but I think there's like fundamental
But I play one
attribution
on
bias.
TV.
But I said on Holiday Inn last night.
Yeah.
It's like a fundamental attribution bias, right? Like if I do something well, it was all me.
Right.
It was my training. I overcame the odds. I beat out what else was there. But then if I didn't get the outcome I wanted, something else sabotaged.
Right. Exactly.
It's the only way they can continue to exist. And honestly, when you're at that level,
And I don't blame them
Yeah,
either.
you kind of have to, right? You kind of have to.
It's always something for one of these guys. So I'm excited. It looks
So what was the outcome of the arbitration?
Okay, the outcome of the arbitration was the guy said you have to fight Deontay Wilder sometime before September 15th, or pay him like some outrageous amount of money, which they're not going to do. So Bob Arum, the promoter, has already booked in anticipation of this a venue in Vegas. I'm not sure about the venue, but he has booked a place for July 24th. So it looks like Saturday, July 24th. It's on, and I'm watching. I love
I'll be there.
Deontay Wilder. I love Tyson Fury. So there's really no losing for me. And very special episode. This just happened today. We had a Miami boxing trainer hit us up. He'll be joining the cast the next day to break down the fight.
Oh, that's going to be amazing.
Right. And
nice job.
This guy is. I looked at his Instagram. He's got 10,000 followers. He trains some pretty good guys
Knows what he's up to.
in Miami. So that'll be a good one. And but I'm excited for the fight.
Can't wait.
Jazz age living, old fashioned sipping, pizzazz ain't missing, got the fat